everyone, welcome back to Limitless Live. Today is not just a session. Today is a moment of truth because today we're closing the monthly topic of character development, and I want you to pause for a second and really ask yourself, who am I today? Compare to who I was just a few weeks ago. Because this month was never about information. It was really about transformation. We didn't come here to learn more. We really came here to become more. And today, you decide what that person is and who that person will become. I want to take a moment to just review what we built over the last 4 weeks. Today's the fifth week of the month, and I really want to just summarize it all. We talked about identity and integration. We talked about who you are when no one is watching, the promises you keep and the promises you break with your own self. We talked about leadership and what it means to choose a high road and what it means to be a high road leader when it's uncomfortable, when it's unfair, when it's hard. We also talked about the emotional mastery over the third week. We need to instill in us on how we learn to pause and how we can respond instead of react. And a lot of us really are in a more reactive state. So to lead yourself is very important instead of losing control. And last week we covered adversity. Adversity is standing strong when life shakes you, becoming grounded when everything feels so uncertain. And if you have listened, then you really applied even a small part of it because you already are not the same person. Awareness without action changes nothing. So now that you are aware, it's time to actually live it. And here's why most people never change. Most people never change because they get inspired, they feel motivated, they have that clarity, and then they go back to who they are and who they were. Why? Because they never change their standards. So let's understand what standards are. Your standards are what you tolerate from your own self. Not what you post, not what you say, not what you wish for, but what you allow daily. And this is where your life is decided. So let me challenge you with this. Stop relying on goals to change your life. Goals are temporary, but standards are permanent. You can have goals to be disciplined, to be calm, to be successful. But if your standard is, I'll do it when I feel like it, or I'll react when I'm triggered, or even I stop when it gets hard, then you will always return to the same level you were. So today is not about setting another goal. It's about raising your standards. So let's define what we create. When you raise your standards, when you start understanding what is okay and what is not okay, and own your word and say what you do and do what you say, you become an unshakable version of you. Someone who keeps their word even when it's inconvenient. Someone who stays calm even when emotions rise. Someone who chooses growth even when it's uncomfortable. And someone who leads themselves even when no one is watching. And that's important because life will test you. Life will disappoint you. Life will challenge you. Life will push you beyond your comfort zone. And in those moments, you don't rise to your intentions. You fall to your standards. So the question is, are your standards strong enough to hold you where you are? Now listen carefully, because character is not built in big moments. Character is what built in the small, invisible moments. When you get up, when you don't feel like it. When you stay calm, when you really want to react. When you follow through, when no one is watching. And when you choose better, when it would be easier not to. These moments seem very small, but these moments are the ones that define your entire life, because small actions repeated daily become your identity, and identity becomes destiny. So now I want you to really commit. Ask yourself, how do I refuse, and what do I not accept anymore? In other words, be honest with yourself. Who do I refuse to be from now on? Do I refuse to be inconsistent, reactive, or someone who just quits? I want you to ask yourself, who am I becoming no matter what? Define your 3 non-negotiables. I'm not talking about wishes. I'm talking about standards. I do what I say I do. I stay grounded under pressure. I choose growth over comfort. And this time, you don't negotiate. I want you to feel this, not just hear this. Say it like you mean it. I am a person of character. I trust myself. I lead myself. And I don't break my word. Because from this moment forward, this is not something you're working on. This is who you are. And let me leave you with this. Your life will not change because of one session. It will change because of one decision. But one decision that is repeated daily. The decision to keep and honor your word. The decision of raising your standards no matter what. The decision of leading yourself. Because stronger decision can lead to much stronger character. And that's how you become stronger than your excuses. Because at the end of the day, you don't get what you want. You get who you become. So as we close this month of character, I want you to decide. Will you go back to the old patterns? Or will you rise to the next level? Because that version of you is already within you. It's just waiting for you to choose it. And I want to finish with this line. You don't become unshakable overnight. You become unshakable the moment you decide you no longer break your standards. Work through your standards. Understand what they are, and do not negotiate. Your standards are what dictates the quality of your life and the quality of your character. I hope this month helped you, and I hope that you are going to take some of that advice and work towards it. Next month, we're going to go into May, and we'll talk about spiritual life, which is so strong. We'll talk about intuition and so much more that applies to the spirituality of the individual. We're not talking about religion. Spirituality is not necessarily religion, and we'll cover that in May. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I really hope to see you again next Monday. Usually at 2 o'clock. Today I was just tied up a little bit, but thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate that. See you soon again.